It's really early in the morning here in Viseu, and in other tourist destinations, it's pretty much the only time of day you have to explore the city without having to deal with so many tourists. But it's not a problem here in this city. You see, it's a hidden gem of Portugal, and there aren't too many tourists here. And that's why you can explore the place pretty much any time of day.
A great place to start is at the Cathedral Square in the oldest part of Viseu. Three of the city's most important buildings are found in this single square. The main cathedral with its famous twin towers, the Grão Vasco Museum named after Portugal's foremost Renaissance painter, and the Rococo Misericordia Church. An early morning walk also takes you through the city's medieval walls and its many pleasant squares lined with traditional houses and the familiar blue and white azulejos of Portugal. We're southbound again through the Portuguese countryside and making a quick stop at one of the many unexpected roadside attractions that greet you.
It's a long drive to our next destination, but the good thing is there's so many things along the way. Like Portugal, for example, was a part of the Roman Empire. It was called Lusitania back then. And you'll find many Roman fortifications all over the place. This is just one of them.
The ancient watchtower is a remnant of Lusitania, back then an important Roman province where grapes for making wine and olives for producing cooking oil were prized by the Romans.
So it turns out there's more to this photo stop than just a Roman tower. This is right beside a farm and they grow grapes here. Sweet grapes because it's after the harvest, and olives for making olive oil. Another one of Portugal's famous products. In fact, there's someone pruning some olive trees over there. Let's take a look.
More than 2,000 years after, the farmers of Belmonte keep this tradition alive, harvesting grapes and olives by hand to sell in the local market or for pressing in their homes and farms. We're driving southeast through the country's vast interior farmlands to one of Portugal's best preserved medieval hill towns.
Our next stop is the town of, well, more like the village of Castelo de Vide. It's deep in the interior of Portugal, closer to the border of Spain, which means it's a bit off the beaten track, and therefore off the tourist trail, which is good news for me.
It's hard to believe a place this beautiful could be kept a secret for so long. Castelo de Vide is rather isolated, so unlike the hill towns of Italy and Spain, tourism hasn't spoiled the place yet, so that rare authentic experience is what you can still expect.
There used to be a significant Jewish community here in Castelo de Vide, but it no longer exists. However, their influence remains, like with this bolema pastry. Its origins are Jewish.
It's one of those authentic experiences I was talking about. A village tradition. Every day, an elderly woman delivers baskets of it to the cerveceria, where loyal customers wait to enjoy the apple tart with their afternoon coffee. Don't worry about the calories because you'll quickly burn them off while exploring the town on foot. It's an uphill climb through some of the loveliest lanes you'll ever encounter. Apparently, the locals take pride in it, and every year, compete for the title of the cleanest and prettiest street in the quarter. You will definitely lose yourself in the warren of winding streets, but that's okay because you'll be rewarded with such breathtaking views anyway. A turn here might lead you to this covered Renaissance fountain on a square. A turn there to the oldest Jewish synagogue established in Portugal. This atmospheric medieval quarter was once the Judiciaria, where Jews fleeing Catholic persecution in Spain fled across the border. At the top of the hill is a 14th century castle, surprisingly intact despite its age. The town was named after the castle. It was built to guard the border with the then hostile Spain, which from this vantage point, you can see a few kilometers away. It's not an easy climb, but it's worth the effort because the castle walls and tower give you dramatic views of the countryside.
Wow, what a view from up there. So what do I think about Castelo de Vide? Well, let's just say I can't stop thinking about it. It's a photographer's dream.
In fact, you could call the entire Portugal a photographer's dream. And we're on our way to Évora, yet another photogenic city. We get in at night in time for dinner. With Trafalgar, you always have the choice to either join a group or move on your own. Especially since you feel very safe in Portugal, even when alone at night. Évora is well known for its local cuisine, dishes featuring ingredients and livestock from the farms close by. The Café Alentejo, on a corner of Giralda Square, is a great choice for regional specialties. The cuisine in this part of Portugal is very similar to Spain's. Extra virgin olive oil, olives, and hard and soft cheeses from sheep's milk are staples as well. They also have pork sausage like the Spanish chorizo and prosciutto de baiota, which, like jamón ibérico, is from the acorn-fed black-hoofed pig. From the same rare pig is a restaurant's specialty, braised pork cheeks.
I've had cheeks of the cow, cheeks of the veal, but never pork. And this one is really good. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Unbelievable. And best with some local red wine.
The meat from the local black pig is spectacular and a must-try in Portugal. If nighttime is best for enjoying the local wine and food, daytime is ideal for exploring this UNESCO World Heritage Site, the oldest and best preserved citadel in Portugal. And by foot, ideally, the better to see Évora's mix of native culture, foreign conquests, and immigrant influences.
This is the iconic image of Évora. It represents the many layers of history of this city. Roman, Moorish, Christian, it's all here on this square.
Évora was a key Roman town on the road to Spain and has always played a vital role in Portuguese politics and commerce. The temple to Augustus is considered the most impressive Roman monument in the entire Iberian Peninsula. For centuries, Christians and Moors battled for control of the city. Évora was a virtual fortress city with towers, walls, even churches built to defend itself from invaders. The thick walls and massive towers of the main cathedral represent the city's military architecture.
The Cathedral of Évora is typical of the Portuguese Gothic style. It's dark and you don't have any large stained glass windows. Now the reason for that was, well, these cathedrals were more like fortresses. Remember, in those days, the Moors were very close by in Spain.
It is a rather gloomy cathedral compared to the Gothic churches of France and Spain, except for this altar.
But the architecture changes in the main altar area. From Gothic, we're now in the Baroque period, from darkness to light.
Évora is enclosed within walls, so there's little chance of getting lost. Just follow the streets and pop into buildings that interest you, and be ready to be surprised with what awaits.
tiled panels instead of stained glass windows or paintings. That's something unique to Portuguese churches, and only here in Portugal because of the mild weather.
The Igreja de Misericordia's azulejo murals are amazing. Because tiles are cold, they can't be used this way for most European buildings, but only Portugal's mild climate makes it possible. Another church you shouldn't miss is St. Francis and its eerie Capela dos Ossos, the Chapel of the Bones.
We bones that are here, yours we wait.
A Franciscan monk created the chapel in the 16th century as a reminder to his brethren of life on Earth's transitory nature. There are about 5,000 skulls and bones embedded in this chapel, and a couple of full skeletons to remind modern-day pilgrims of the certainty of death. Creepy. Évora is like an open-air museum with historical monuments and marvels of architecture on full display. Yet, fantastically, not too many tourists.
This is the Praça Geraldo. It's the main square of Évora. And as you can see, there are very few tourists here. In fact, it's really just us. Now, if this were in Italy or Spain, this place would be crawling with tour buses. And to think, this is a very historic and important city.
There's one last stop we have to make before returning to Lisbon on the coast. It's a horse ranch in Alentejo, the location of Trafalgar's Be My Guest program, where guests are invited to a local's home for an intimate afternoon of food and friendship. Culinary Montenegro is a stud farm and country home owned by the aristocratic Falcao family. The Falcaos rear Lusitania horses, a rare and world-famous Portuguese breed. Their ancestral home isn't usually open to the public, but they've made an exception for us and have even prepared a home-cooked meal for our party.
We're gonna start with some soup. You see, this is not a professional restaurant. In fact, it's not even a restaurant at all. It's a house. And whenever the guests come, they bring in these tables and bring out the tableware just for the guests. Nice, right?
It's a family affair, from cooking to serving. Viera, her siblings, and her friends do it all themselves. Yes, it's like being invited into the home of a long-lost friend.
What an honor to be served by the lady of the house.
The rustic dishes are pretty good as well, and the chef is more than willing to share her family recipes with us. The ranch, however, is better known for its horses, and Viera shows me their prize stallions in the stable. The horses are being groomed and prepped for a show to entertain us. The best way to appreciate the Lusitania breed is watching them perform. Strong with a thick neck and robust build, and extremely agile on the field, the horses were originally bred for the military and for cavalry charges especially. These days, they're ideal for horse shows, show jumping, and dressage equestrian events. It's an unexpected treat. And for many here, a moment that could last a lifetime.
They're having a lot of fun. You see, that's the great thing about Trafalgar's Be My Guest program. You know, traveling is more than just about sightseeing. It's about digging deeper into a culture, meeting people you otherwise wouldn't, or better yet, being a guest in someone else's home.
It's only been a week in Portugal, but there are enough memories on this trip to last for years. Portugal can be called Western Europe's best-kept secret, neither overrun nor overrated like the rest. It's a full package with history, culture, food and wine, and most of all, people that will want you to keep coming back for more.
And that's all for our series on Portugal on Executive Class. I'm David Saldran. You can also follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.